What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today we have a review for you. We're gonna be checking out this Abu Garcia Red Max. I know you've seen it. I know you've walked through a Walmart and seen this bad boy. But hey, we're gonna break it down today and show you exactly what this thing is made out of and why it could be a good option for you if you're looking for a new spinning combo. Guys, this actually is an older model that they have still on the shelf. Some places have them still, because they actually have a newer version of this that kind of has a different pattern to it. You know, it's a little bit different, but it's just the upgraded version of this. Check it out. You'll probably see it at Walmart. It seems like Abu Garcia has pretty much went through all of their different rod and reel combo lines. Kind of gave them new names, gave them a facelift, and just made a new combo to change things up. So if you're looking for a new combo, stick around. I'm gonna show you what this thing has to offer, what kind of features are on it, and then at the end we're actually gonna do a field test on this. This combo seems like a pretty good deal for the price. All right, at least the rod looks good. This thing looks pretty awesome. It's got the Abu Garcia accents. It's got For Life wrote on it. That's pretty cool. Especially if you're a diehard Abu Garcia fan, this thing looks pretty sweet. This has the nice Win grips. I don't know if these are actual Win. I know on my Blue Max, which literally it looks like the same grips, it actually has the official Win grips, but this doesn't have any Win logos on it like the Blue Max did. But hey, it makes up for it with all these Abu Garcia accents. I will say, this thing looks killer, and honestly, when I went down the aisles at Walmart, that is what attracted me to this rod. Is this the best rod that you can get for around 60 bucks at Walmart? It possibly could be. We have the Lose Xfinity spinning combo, and guys, that thing is pretty bulletproof. I fish it all the time. And we also have the Quantum Throttle 2. I'm going to be doing a review on that very soon. I believe this might take it. I didn't even know Walmart sold that, and I just happened to see it, and I had to pick it up. Guys, that thing has so many features that you find on a super high quality spinning rod. I don't even know how you can get it for 60 bucks. Okay, but we're going to be talking about this Red Max combo. This is kind of like Walmart's exclusive for the Black Max. Okay, Black Max, you can find those at, like Dick's Sporting Goods, Academy, places like that. But the Red Max is a Walmart exclusive, just like the Xfinity line from Lose. Okay, if you didn't know, Lose and Abu Garcia are kind of like head-to-head competitors, especially at Walmart. Okay, starting out, we're going to just talk about the aesthetics. Okay, the aesthetics, awesome job from Abu Garcia with the red accents here. The rod itself has these tribal patterns, just like the Black Max rod. If you've watched my review on the Black Max or just seen the Black Max in general, it's kind of got the same tribal accent pattern. It looks pretty good. And then after this first line guide, it turns into this cherry red looking color all the way up the rod blink. This is a 24-ton graphite rod, and 24-ton is like your budget-friendly entry-level graphite rod. This option that I have is the 7-foot rod, medium action. It doesn't say what tip it has, and guys, I couldn't really find much info for the specifications of this rod combo. There just wasn't a lot out there. So they do offer this rod in a 2-piece, 6-foot, 6-inch rod blink. That way, if you're into transporting your rods or whatever in a small vehicle, you can definitely do that. This one is actually just a 1-piece. So if you want a more durable, stronger rod that might have a little bit more backbone to it, this 1-piece rod is probably going to be more up your alley if you have the room to transport it like that. Another thing that is awesome about this rod is look at this skeletonized reel seat here. It's exposed. That way you can really feel the rod blink. You can really tell if you happen to have a fish on. You're going to be able to have a little bit more sensitivity and more control over the rod itself. And it has nice little Abu Garcia features on it. It's got this little metal ring that kind of, let's let the camera focus here, but it's pretty cool looking. It's got like little diamonds in it. You know, just kind of little accents that make it look a little bit better. But guys, the reel, I'm not too impressed with the reel, okay? I would say, and we are gonna rate this from 1 to 10 on various features of this rod, different criteria we're gonna rate this on at the very end of the video. But the rod, I think, is the best part of this combo, and the reel, not so much. Okay, we're gonna go over the competitors, in my opinion, that Walmart has that kind of rivals this, and kind of what you could get besides this if you're looking at something. But guys, the rod itself is really nice. The reel, it's kind of what it is, okay? It looks entry level. It looks budget friendly. Okay, it kind of has that plasticky look to it, kind of the plasticky feel. It does have the shape of like the Revos and, you know, the shape of their more premium reels, but I just don't think it's there. Okay, covering some of the other specifications of the rod here, it does have the nice little hook keeper here, if you can see it. That way it's gonna get it out of the way of your hand here. As you can tell on this Lose, they put it back here, which if you've watched any of my videos, I freaking hate it back here. It's just way better having it up here. That way it keeps it away from your hand. Okay, looking at the line guides, the line guide posts and everything, they're stainless steel. The guide inserts are also a nice polished stainless steel, and they all look pretty nice. And you know, I see a lot of bad reviews and stuff on Walmart.com. You know, people posting their experience and review of this, and everybody says the rod is kind of what messes up and is crap. But it looks pretty good, guys. Somebody left a review saying like they caught a 6-pound bass and it broke when they hooked into it or whatever. You're gonna think a 6-pound bass, that's a good sized bass. And this isn't that expensive of a rod, so you know, it's what it is. A lot of these rods might get messed up, you know, in transport to Walmart or whatever. Or, you know, they get beat up being on the shelf at Walmart. People go through those aisles and just do whatever. You know, throw these things back up. And anytime I purchase a rod or anything from Walmart, I inspect it. I look at all these line guides. I look at the epoxy to see if it's cracked or anything. I look at the whole length of the rod to make sure I don't see any weak spots, which meaning, you know, cracked paint, things like that, that might indicate that this graphite has some kind of fracture or crack in it. All the way up, you know, look at the tip of the rod, make sure that that tip line guide is in good shape. That is typically the one that'll be broke. Okay, so just word of advice, you know, if you're going through Walmart, check that stuff out before you actually purchase it. Other than that, it does feel pretty good in the hand. Like I said, you're gonna be able to feel a little bit more sensitivity. The reel seat, you know, it seems pretty secure and everything. And these grips are nice. I like the 2-piece butt section of this rod. It has those wind grips, which are really nice. And usually at this price point, you only have an EVA foam piece back here, like you do on this Lose. But this actually has the wind grip back here too, which I think is a really nice feature. All right, guys, we broke down the specs and stuff of the rod that I could find. Okay, like I said, it's kind of bare bones when you're searching Walmart's website or anything else. Can't really find the exact specifications of this combo. But we're gonna do our best to kind of, you know, come up with whatever it is that this is made out of. But breaking down the components of the reel, like I said, the reel kind of has like a cheap look to it, cheap feel. And that's because it is. I mean, this rod combo comes in at like 59 bucks, I think is what I picked this up for. But that's pretty budget friendly. Okay, so looking at this, it looks like, you know, this part and the frame, probably made out of graphite, I guess. It could be plastic. But I'm gonna go ahead and say that it would probably advertise it as being graphite. The spool does look like machined aluminum, and it just looks more budget friendly. Honestly, I think the Ozark Trail spinning reel that I'm doing a review on honestly looks better than this, and it might perform better. We're actually going to bring this out tomorrow and shoot a actual footage of me catching fish and stuff with this, and we're going to put it to the test. We're going to see how the drag system works, and we're going to see how this functions overall. The handle, it feels like it's plastic. It just doesn't feel very high quality. Now the knob is rubberized. So it's got like the little Abu Garcia symbol there, but the knob is rubberized. It's not the most comfortable thing in the world, but hey, for 58 bucks or 59 bucks, you know, it's what it is. The bail does click back and it does kind of stay in place good. So that is nice. But other than that, the bail kind of looks cheap too. It does have a roller there so your line doesn't get burnt or whatever when you're reeling it in. But guys, the spool, it just it's kind of wobbly. It just doesn't feel super high quality. Okay, and then the drag adjustment here, it's plastic, doesn't feel that high quality either. I don't know, it just doesn't sound the greatest. Okay, the gear ratio is a 5:1 gear ratio. It's pretty low. Okay, the Xfinity here has a 6:2 ratio, which is almost a whole step up from what the Red Max is. But, you know, it's what it is. A lot of times you're going to be fishing slower style baits with this anyway. I like to fish weightless Senko on it. You know, I like to fish Ned rig. Both of those being very finesse style where you're fishing it very slowly. Okay, and then that's kind of where this reel seat's going to come in handy, is feeling for the, you know, that really light bite. This Xfinity, it's got a very covered up reel seat. It's not going to be as sensitive. So that is kind of where this Red Max will shine. The handle, not so much. The handle on the Xfinity, a lot nicer. It's got that nice wind grip on the knob as well. Now, the spool, I think, does look a little bit better on the Xfinity. Not as much on this. If you're planning on running braid on this, you're going to have to use like electrical tape or something to wrap it around one time. That way it doesn't slip. This reel does have 4 bearings. It's pretty low, but this thing does feel pretty smooth without any line on it. Now, I have been fooled in the past with it being really smooth, and once you put line on the rod, you know, it not being that great. So we're going to put it to the test when we actually get out in the field and do this. This is the tabletop portion, but we're going to put it to the test and see. Now, the graphics on the spool have been painted on. Actually, some of these might have been kind of etched on and then painted over, but you know, that's pretty good. A lot of times at this price point, you'll see like a sticker put on there. I know the Lose American Hero, it had a sticker that was wrapped around there and it just wore off and it wasn't very high quality feeling. Okay, this reel does have the capabilities to switch the handle over to the right side instead of it being left-hand retrieve. This reel also offers the anti-reverse. That way, you know, it's not going in reverse at all. Okay, it can only go forward, but you do have the option to where you can just free spool it either way. So that is there as well. So looking at the line capacity, if you plan on running 6-pound test, you can put up to 225 yards, 8-pound test, 175 yards, and at 10-pound test, 140 yards. You know, if you're gonna plan on running braid, you could probably run a lot more than that. But guys, I never really care about line capacity or whatever. I just spool it on there and I get to fishing, okay? I'm usually never gonna be throwing this. I guarantee you, if you casted this thing 100 yards, which you're never gonna be able to, you're still not gonna run out of line. So I don't know why people get so hung up on that. Maybe if you're out trolling or whatever, but you're never gonna, I don't think you're gonna catch a fish on this, if you're intending to, that's gonna pull your line 200 yards. Okay, so let's just being realistic. Line capacity, in my opinion, doesn't matter that much, at least for my application. Yeah, we're gonna head out to the field test and we're gonna show you how this Red Max performs in pulling in some bass. But stay tuned at the end. After we do this field test, we're actually gonna go ahead and break down on a scale, and this is the first time I've ever done a review like this, but I think it's something we're gonna incorporate. And we're gonna score everything from 1 to 10, with 10 being the best, 1 being the worst. We're gonna look at price, quality, looks, performance, the features, functionality, and smoothness, and then we're gonna give that an overall score. And this is the trend we're gonna have, guys, and I think it's gonna be pretty good. It's gonna give you, a good overview of, what to expect out of that product. Okay, if you think that's a good idea, go ahead and leave me some feedback in that comment box. Stay tuned for the rest of this review. All right, guys, we're gonna knock out this field review portion of this Abu Garcia Red Max. And guys, I have this spooled up with 20-pound spider wire braid with a 10-pound fluorocarbon leader. And we have one of the lightest baits that you can throw, and that is a Ned rig. Because this is just a little bitty 3-inch Senko on a little Ned head. You can see that. It's got a little weed guard. But anyway, we're gonna be throwing this today and see how this performs. So we're on the Dolphin, actually. We're out shooting another one of our John Boat Adventure Series videos. But hey, we're gonna be casting this thing and seeing how it does. And I'm just casting it. Man, with that braid, it really just casts a long ways. And you have two options here. You can either flip the bail back over, which is what I do. I find that it kind of prevents line twist. And what line twist is, if you've ever fished a spinning reel with monofilament line or fluorocarbon, when you throw it out, you see it has all those loops. That is line twist, okay? And that can be a pain in the butt if you're fishing all day. So that is where I recommend braid. Braid does not give you line twists. Okay, the second option you have is you cast it out and you can actuate the handle. Okay, just crank down on the handle. It's gonna flip that bail over automatically for you. That was an overhead cast. Doing a side cast, I'm doing the same thing, and all I do, guys, watch my how to cast a spinning reel. If you don't know how, we all have to start somewhere, but stick my pointer finger out, grab that line, bring it back towards the rod, I flip the bail over with the other hand, and guys, you can just cast. That easy. And that went halfway across the river, and I didn't even sling it that hard. And another thing with this braid, it's gonna be super sensitive. And with this exposed reel seat here, you're really gonna have a lot of sensitivity and gonna be able to feel any type of bite that you get. All right, so the casting is super smooth. Guys, it performs way above 60 bucks. And casting is no issue for this. Now, once we get into a fish, I'm gonna see how the drag system works. And I kind of want to see what it sounds like and performs. Like I said, Abu Garcia doesn't really announce how much poundage this drag is. So I don't see any issues though. If you're fishing a medium action spinning rod, you're probably not gonna max out 15-pound drag. I don't think you would, unless you just hook into some mystery fish. Okay, but that's typically not the case. Okay, let's see how smooth. Now we've kind of been talking about it a little bit, but the reel is actually really smooth. I kind of had my doubts about it because it just doesn't look that high quality. The knob does have that rubberized texturing, which it's not the most comfortable in the world. It's definitely not a Revo, and it's not near as comfortable as a Quantum, but it's not bad. It'll get you through the day, and you're definitely going to be able to fish and not have any issues. It doesn't seem gritty or anything when you're reeling it back in. It seems very good for 60 bucks, and time will tell how quality the rod is, and the reviews aren't the greatest. Guys, this Red Max, it does cast really, really well, but I think it was kind of poorly executed when it came to how heavy the reel is. This thing is actually really, really heavy. Okay, they didn't specify what the actual weight of it was. It does cast good, I will give it that. Another thing, this kind of little piece right here, right before the skeletonization, it just doesn't feel right, I don't think. It's kind of bulky. It kind of just pinches you right in your palm. However you... Oh, shoot, one hit it. There we go. I knew there was one sitting there. I'll tighten up this drag a little bit. Oh yeah. That one's a pretty decent one. Oh, he is fighting. He is fighting. Nah, he ain't that decent. I thought he was. That nice, pretty smallmouth. Okay guys, so diving into the overall score chart here, we broke it down based on certain criteria. So for the price, guys, it is around 60 bucks. So you're getting a pretty good deal. I rated it as a 6 because there are some other options around this price that are a little bit better than this, in my opinion. For the quality, I also rated it a 6 because I did like the rod, but I did not like the reel portion. So if the reel would have been a little bit better, I would have rated it a little bit higher. For smoothness, it was actually really smooth. It was really smooth without any line on it. You know, when we initially tested it, it was also really smooth once we put some braid on it. So I didn't have any issues there. For performance, after fishing with it for a little bit throughout the course of the day, I did have a few issues with the braid kind of getting tangled up some on the line guides and also around the reel. So that's normally not a problem I have out of any other spinning combo, but I did with this one. So that's why I shot it down a little bit on the performance. The rod did amazing, especially when we hooked into that smallmouth. It was a 2-pound smallmouth. It did an excellent job of handling that. And for looks, I gave it a 6 because the rod looks amazing with those red grips and just the accents on the rod. But once again, the reel itself kind of looked a little cheap. So that's why I knocked it down on the looks. And for castability, guys, this thing casted really well with that 20-pound braid. Like I said, I could cast that thing almost all the way across the river with no issues, and it was really smooth. And for the overall score, I just went ahead and gave it a 6 because, you know, taking into consideration all of those factors with the looks, the performance, and all that, overall with a 6. So this rod is a good option if you're looking for something around that $60 range. But if you want to get something a little bit better than this, go ahead and look at like the Lose Xfinity, also the Quantum Throttle, just to name a few that I believe, in my opinion, would serve better than this Abu Garcia. Guys, thanks for watching this video. Please click on these suggested video links. And guys, until next time, keep it blue collar and look out for those next videos.